He matched with women on Tinder as a billionaire diamond mogul. The private jets were real. The bodyguards were real. The luxury hotels were real. All of it paid for with money stolen from the last woman who loved him. He called it a business. Investigators called it one of the most successful romance frauds in history. And by the time it unraveled, he had taken an estimated $10 million. This is the story of the Tinder swindler. His real name is Shimon Hayat, born in Israel in 1990. He grew up an ordinary kid who, by his teens, had developed an extraordinary talent for deception, passing bad checks, impersonating others, talking his way into and out of trouble. By his 20s he had fled Israel ahead of fraud charges and reinvented himself completely. He became Simon Leviev, claiming, falsely, to be the son of Lev Leviev, a real billionaire known as the King of Diamonds. He built an Instagram presence dripping with wealth, jets, yachts, sports cars, five-star suites. It was all a stage set. And the audience was women on dating apps across Europe. The con followed a precise, repeatable script. First, the matching. Simon would match with a woman and immediately project the lifestyle, flying her to a luxury dinner on a private jet, treating her like the most important person in the world. Second, the bond. Over days and weeks, he became the perfect partner. Attentive, generous, romantic. He moved fast, building intense emotional intimacy. Third, and this is the engine of the whole scheme, the money came not from the woman he was currently romancing, but to her. He used each victim's money to fund the lavish lifestyle that impressed the next one. Fourth, the emergency. Once a woman was deeply attached, Simon would manufacture a crisis. His enemies were after him. His security team had been attacked. His bank accounts and credit cards had been frozen for security. He couldn't use his own money without being tracked by the people trying to kill him. Could she help? Just temporarily. Open a credit card in her name, take out a loan, wire him money, he'd pay it all back the moment his accounts were unlocked. Because she was in love, and because everything she'd seen told her he was a billionaire, she did. One victim, a Norwegian woman, lost around $250,000 and was left in crippling debt. Others lost similar amounts. The money flowed from each woman straight into impressing the next. The women began to compare notes. Several of his victims, devastated and financially ruined, eventually found each other. They realized they had all loved the same man, all heard the same story about frozen accounts and dangerous enemies, all been drained the same way. Together with journalists from the Norwegian newspaper VG, they pieced together the full pattern. Their 2019 investigation exposed him publicly. But here's the twist that enrages people most. Simon Leviev was eventually arrested, not for the romance fraud that ruined these women's lives, but for traveling on a forged passport. He was convicted in Israel on older fraud charges and sentenced to 15 months. He served about 5. He walked free, reportedly with the debts of his victims still unpaid, and became, bizarrely, a kind of celebrity. After the Netflix documentary made him infamous, he hired a talent manager and reportedly tried to launch a career as a public figure. His victims, meanwhile, were left with the loans. The Tinder swindler worked because of a chain of trust that each link reinforced. The jets and hotels were real, so the wealth seemed real. The wealth seemed real, so the emergency seemed like a temporary inconvenience, not a scam. And the love was real, at least on the victim's side, so refusing felt like betraying a partner in danger. Every piece propped up the next. And the genius, if you can call it that, was that the victims were funding the very illusion that fooled them. The defense is brutally simple, and it's the same for every romance scam. The moment a romantic partner, no matter how wealthy they appear, no matter how real the relationship feels, asks you to take on debt or move money because of an emergency, stop. Real wealth doesn't need your credit card. And a partner who'd put you in financial danger to save himself was never really yours to begin with. Subscribe. New case every Friday.